So, I'm here with Matt Kenny.
Hello.
We're both super horror freaks.
Of course.
I'm sure you're looking at the page, MatDigsHorror right now, and hopefully you're digging this. So we're just kind of gonna get into it.
All right, here we go.
So, what's your first horror memory?
I guess I grew up next to a boy, I guess you would call him, named Will. He was my best friend growing up. His mom had like OCD, so she would like record everything that was on cable, and I mean everything, and not like on VHS. Like she had a couple of VHS tapes, but most of it was on Betamax.
Wow. Does anybody remember Betamax?
Betamax, one spool. So we were allowed to watch anything we wanted, and of course, being little boys, we'd go straight to the horror section.
Of course.
Because
blood and boobs.
Of course. She had OCD, so she had a binder that had all the movies alphabetized, and they were all in order and stuff. The numerical system, I think.
Okay.
And that'd be my first horror memory, because we always watched horror movies because they were the best.
Of course, duh.
And the one we'd always watch would be Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2.
Probably, maybe my favorite sequel of any horror ever.
Safe to say it's probably my favorite horror movie of all time.
Really, more than Exorcist, more than your Halloweens, more than everything.
Yeah. I never really got into Exorcist. I always thought it was like scary just because everybody thinks it's.
You're supposed to think it's scary.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I never really got into like exorcism movies, but yeah, like with Will, I would watch. Oh my God, movie after movie after movie, all horror movies, like a whole bunch of Stephen King movies, like Night Flyer and Rose Red and Thinner, even though it kind of sucks. Shit like that, and like The Langoliers is another one that we would watch. But we would pop in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 over and over again, just to watch Chop Top and the chili scene.
Best meat on earth, right?
Yeah, of course.
So Chop Top, where do you put him in your list of horror icons?
God, he's probably top 5 for me, just because I'm a huge fan of horror comedy. I don't know if that's a real genre, or just like sociopaths thinking that horror is funny. But
that'd be everybody watching this right now.
Exactly. Like he's definitely top 5 for me, like right underneath Jason, because Jason is my favorite horror icon, definitely.
Do you have a reason for that?
The hockey mask, of course. Like it's fucking awesome.
So visually, he's
the coolest, at least to me, because he has like the muscles. And he can't be stopped, of course. He comes back in every movie.
So you're thinking after he died, Jason. What about, do you know the potato sack?
Yeah, of course.
What's
part 2, right?
Yeah, what's your opinions on him in that era?
To me, he kind of looked like way too much like a hillbilly. Like, because he had the overalls, and like the potato sack with the eye holes. And before that, he was just like a lumpy-headed kid, Like, so like, everything, like... Part 3 is probably my favorite, because that's when he gets the mask and crushes that dude's skull with his hands. And the eyeballs pop out.
Did you ever watch it in the actual 3D with the cheesy glasses, or?
Oh, no.
Okay.
I'm not a huge fan of 3D, especially with horror movies.
Okay. So you told us your favorite horror character. What about the man behind the mask? Who's your favorite horror icon? Actor or actress?
It'd have to be Bill Moseley, definitely, because he's a great dude. He's funny. He can be extremely serious and extremely deadpan at the same time. His acting style is so subtle, shit like that. It gets me every time, especially the humor, and on a drop of a dime, he can go to crazy and serious and frightening.
How much of his performance do you attribute for Texas Chainsaw 2 being what it is, the great balance of comedy and horror?
I think he's a huge part of that movie, because Leatherface has no lines, basically.
Right.
I mean, the revving chainsaw, I guess, would be a line. But him and... Isn't like Arlie Ermey in that movie?
No, it's Dennis Hopper.
Oh shit! Even better.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dennis Hopper's in that movie.
Yeah, with the 2 chainsaws, being badass.
Yeah, and he's like the sheriff, and he's the one that makes the special meat chili. Yeah, so definitely he has all the best lines in that movie.
Definitely.
Especially when in the beginning when they go to that radio station and he's like scratching his head with the hanger. That's the best. And he takes a piece of his scalp and eats it.
Yeah, it's
awesome.
Would you I would call it subtly disturbing, would you?
Yeah, definitely. Like, he's the same thing I was talking about earlier. Like, he can go from hilarious to extremely serious.
Right.
In the drop of a dime.
Can you remember the first film that actually got you frightened or disturbed or startled?
Frightened. Definitely, since I'm so scared of spiders, it'd have to be arachnophobia. I was terrified of arachnophobia.
Do you have a scene in particular where you just, nope, fuck it, can't do it?
Every scene. I fucking hate spiders that much.
Okay.
Like, I'm not... Horror movies don't really scare me because I fall into the category of they kind of make me laugh more than they scare me. But spiders fucking terrify me.
Okay, so that's a real-world fear of yours.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
And arachnophobia, nothing but spiders. What can I say?
Of course. Okay, so you've been watching horror since you were a little kid.
Yeah.
Is there anything? Can you remember the last time you actually were disturbed by a film?
House of a Thousand Corpses, definitely.
The Rob Zombie.
Yeah, Rob Zombie movie. A little bit of Devil's Rejects too, but more so House of a Thousand Corpses. I don't know if it was like a combination of me being young and when I watched it, and God, like the seriousness of that movie really got me. Like, because that's another movie that's funny at some parts, but insanely super serious at the same time. Super serial.
With the fear that it brings, does that make the comedy that it has even that much more disturbing to you? How they can just laugh at what they're doing? Yeah,
that's definitely what makes it like horrifying to me. It's basically like they're laughing while they chop up people, and like while that guy comes. Is it Bill Moseley who's the brother?
Yes.
No, yes. Yeah, Bill Moseley, the brother. He comes out in that lady's father's body, like his not just his face. He comes out with this entire body on, like as a costume. And he's laughing, and his sister. Carrie Moon Zombie, I don't forget what her character's name is. Mm-hmm. She comes out and like kisses him and shit like that. It's so disturbing. And the part when they turn Rainn Wilson in Fish Boy, it also disturbed the fuck out of me.
Talk about all-time memorable horror scenes. That has to be up there for you, right?
Yeah, and I forget what the lady's name is who unveils it, but when they unveil it and Rainn Wilson is Fish Boy, and that blood-curdling scream she lets out. Magnificent. And also, I think good horror movies always have to have a comedic element to them, because you can't really be horrifying the whole time, you know?
Right.
You gotta have like, you gotta be able to take a breath. And comedy is an excellent thing for that.
I think it was Wes Craven who said, and you can tell in his films, he likes to have these moments where you're at the top of the roller coaster, and just when you think you can't handle it anymore, you get this nice little comedy in there.
Yeah.
And it balances out, but then the other side of that is you're having a great time, and then out of fucking nowhere, here comes another scare. Here comes, that disturbing nature to every horror movie that we enjoy.
Yeah, that's what I love so much about horror, is that it's two ends of the spectrum. You have a lot of comedy, and the comedy is written very well, and on the same side you have horror, and they're both like two opposite emotions, and really good horror movies can blend them really well. And like Evil Dead 2 is a good example of a horror comedy. Like it's most of the movie is comedic, but not really intentionally, I would say. So there's a lot of like really scary scenes in that movie, like when his girlfriend comes back to life and she's like a zombie. It's heartbreaking, but it's funny at the same time. Like, it's masterful. Rest in peace, Sam Raimi. Is he dead? Probably not.
No.
Never mind.
He's still going
Rest in peace in the future, I guess.
Hopefully you're watching this 60 years in the future.
I'm thinking about the guy from Ghostbusters. I was going to mix up.
Okay.
Harold Ramis.
So Evil Dead's been remade. What's your opinion on all these horror remakes that have been coming out?
I fucking hate remakes, dude. Like even when they're good, I hate them. Just because I'm a huge proponent of like original IPs, like intellectual properties for those who don't know. So like the Evil Dead movie, I know it's a good movie, but I don't know. It doesn't come anywhere near the originals with Bruce Campbell. Even the first one that nobody really liked was better than that to me.
Right.
And the second one is a masterpiece. So what can I say?
What about the third one? You gotta love Army of Darkness, right?
Of course, Army of Darkness even more so. Like I kind of like even put that in a category of its own since it's so like outrageous. That's a movie I used to watch with my mom. Like she kind of had a helping hand in me liking horror because whenever that movie was on TV, we would sit down and watch it together. So I have good memories of Bruce Campbell. He's another horror icon that I really like.
You've talked about watching these Betamax and these VHS with your friend and watching Army of Darkness with your mom. Do you find it funny how horror, maybe more than half the genres out there, kind of bring people together?
Yeah, I mean, probably has to do with the being scared factor, because when you're scared, you always think immediate comfort. Oh, well, I do at least. And what's more comforting than a best friend or your mom? I mean, that, and you kind of commiserate with each other. You're both feeling the same emotion, horrified, scared.
I think on that beautiful note, we'll end right here.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Yeah.